All right, welcome back to Off the Tap. This week is episode 95, and we're doing Michelada Lager from 903 Brewers.
Boom, blowing it out of the park. Dude,
Oh,
episode
yeah.
95. I also voiceover mocked you at the beginning. You held it together.
I
And
laughed a little
903
bit. I laughed a
Brewers.
little bit. It was a little rough.
Dude, they made me think of something. Do you know what hitting the in radio? Do you know what hitting the post is?
No, I don't.
We haven't talked about this.
I've never talked about this, no.
I have never okay, so I have an obsession with shout out to 94.5 The Buzz, right? But the Rod Ryan show.
Mm-hmm.
And they do it all the time. You've heard it a million times in your life, regardless of what radio station that you listen to. But they have this principle called hitting the post, and it's basically where they will start the track, right?
Okay.
And they the track is just like an intro at the beginning, right? It could be any song. Like usually Metallica has a big ass post, right? Because they got this like 45-second fucking intro or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's their voiceover talking over the top of it. They'll be like,
Okay.
on 94.5 The Buzz, yada 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 yada. They'll say something. We want to welcome you to a total trashy tattoo Tuesday on this 94.5 The Buzz. And right when they get done is when the lyrics start, and that's called hitting the post. So
Mm-hmm.
you got to make sure that it's a coherent message from the start all the way up to when the lyrics start. But you don't want to step on the lyrics, right?
You want
And
to
you
end right
also
before.
and you also don't want to end long before, so people have to listen to an intro. And it's a very weird concept if you think about it, but it's also very hard apparently.
Yeah.
And so they do a competition. I want to say it's every week. It might not be. It might be. It seems a little more sporadic than that. It's not like, you know, some of the other stuff that fresh out of bed, head to head challenge or anything like
Yeah.
that. It's not as reoccurring. But they play hit the post where people call in and they give them a couple of random topics. Hey, this is Magic Man Mammoth Mike, and you're listening to 94.5 The Buzz, yada yada yada.
The
And they have
Buzz.
Yeah, and they have to hit the post. And anyways, there's some people that get it, obviously, but it seems like it's a very acquired, like it would be very difficult to do that
Oh, there's no
over
shot I
and
could do
over
that.
and over
No
effectively.
shot I could do it. No shot.
And so I feel like you, even though there was no intro specifically right there, I feel like you did it correctly and you delivered and you hit the post. So if you want to do some
Nailed it.
fancy editing with that, you can.
Maybe. So yeah, obviously this is a lager, an American lager, coming
Oh,
in at
thanks.
4.0% is what I saw
Yeah, it
online.
does. It does seem. That's what it says on the can. Seems a little light.
Yeah, it kind of does. I saw that too, and I was like, "There's no way that's right," but alas, it is. There was also no IBUs listed anywhere.
Um, I don't know. We'll get into it. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit about Micheladas, but we've had a 903 before. I told you I've been there. It's a pretty cool place.
Yeah, the Cerveza Por Favor, I think.
Ah, another. Was that a Cella? What was that?
No, I think it was just a Cerveza.
Dude, they're doing it. I'm gonna read the back of the can here, just for
Yeah, do it.
just start us off. 903 Michelada Lager is a zesty fiesta of bubbly flavors, bro. If I wasn't sold before.
Oh,
A
it's
zesty fiesta of
it's
bubbly
zesty.
flavors.
It's zesty.
Jesus. Brewed with pale malts and noble hops, with this effervescent Mexican lager is spiked with michelada mix, lime, and tahine. I'm in. Within its tomato-hued crimson waves are crisp and zippy flavors of malt, spice, and a touch of citrus. The aroma is a bouquet of herbs, spices, and citrusy complexity. An invitation to a party that you definitely want to attend. Viva Cerveza.
A Boquette.
A bouquet.
Yeah.
I love this. I don't know if this was on the other 903. I'm going to do a little bit of a pour for color, but as I mentioned immediately pre-pod, don't judge me for this. The best one definitely didn't come out of a can, but I prefer my micheladas out of a can.
See,
So
this is where we
do the
differ
math.
100%.
But
We
okay, so
differ
here's the thing.
100% here.
We're gonna get into it. There's a couple of exceptions. Like I said, my favorite one of all time can't be in a can, and honestly, the michelada itself shouldn't be in a can based on what it is. But we'll talk about that. So it pairs well with fried green tomatoes with chipotle ranch, grilled shrimp ceviche, hosting a cornhole tournament. Dude, I hope,
So
based on
those
the fact,
ceviche and grilled shrimp ceviche and fried green tomatoes do kind of make sense for this, if I'm being honest.
dude, I love, dude, fried green tomatoes with ranch. If this even remotely pairs. All right, so just a little pour. It did have a head. It dissipated a little bit. We got a lot of
Okay.
floaties. We got a lot of chunks, which, again, it's a Michelada. It should. I think we're right in the ballpark.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
So before I get into this, I have a love hate relationship with micheladas. Okay.
Okay.
In a can, I have not had a single good experience ever.
Well, fuck me, dude. That's about to change. I don't know if
I
you had a little tasty yet.
I have not because I'm a little nervous going into it. I just wanted to talk about it. Yeah, I've not had a good experience out of a can, but there is nothing, almost nothing more refreshing than a post drunk night morning michelada.
So, as much as I agree with you, right? Because we're towing the line of Bloody Mary, and it's a Bloody Mary beer.
Mm,
Um, I agree with you a lot, but I don't only need like for Bloody Marys. Like I love a good Bloody Mary, and I'm not going to say that I only do them when I'm hungover, but I've kind of gotten to a point where like I don't think about them unless I'm having a rough morning or like I got real can the night before and I got to go get up and play golf or something. I'll get one in.
yeah,
I don't ever think about them until then. You know what I mean? But a michelada sometimes I crave one. Like when you
yeah,
crave like you would eat something. I don't really crave, I'll be honest, I don't really crave any other beer. Like I'll be like, "Oh yeah, a beer would be nice." But sometimes I get to the point where I crave a michelada like you would a good bowl, a good spaghetti or like we talked about like a good pie.
yeah. I mean, I do kind of agree with that. I don't ever. I'm always like in the mood for a beer, right? I can always be like, oh yeah, I'll have a beer, like you said. But
Yeah.
whenever we bought this beer, I've been craving a michelada ever since. We went out and purchased it, and I was like, oh yeah, that sounds like it could be pretty good. And then every day since then, I wake up and I'm like, damn, I could go for a michelada.
Yes.
But
I
like
well,
like
yeah.
a fresh one though is what I want like a restaurant one or like you know what when they're even the best though is on like out of like a and when you're at like a fair type thing and they're from
Mhm.
like a food truck
Yes.
or like a stand, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. I will wholeheartedly agree that my opinion on the Michelada is not like I love them and the best ones are homemade, which because of the nature of what they are. But I find that the ones in the can, I guess you could do this with anything because I do this with my Bloody Marys. I think you've had one of my Bloody Marys. My Bloody Marys are so, you're not a Bloody Mary fan.
There's one of the things I despise the most on the face of the planet is tomato juice,
What the
which
hell?
is hilarious considering I love micheladas, right? It's absolutely hilarious. But can't do tomato soup. I'll never do tomato soup. I cannot. And
What?
the idea alone of a Bloody Mary makes me gag. I can't stand it.
Are you okay? I listen. I'm not even gonna judge you. I'm not gonna draw a line in the sand. Right? We've talked infinitely about cucumbers. People don't get it or whatever.
Yeah.
So I can see that. Right?
I mean,
It's
I
not like
also just don't like tomatoes, really in general.
which is also hard for me to just digest personally of your character, but that's fine. I The one thing I would say is that if you came to me and you were like, "Ooh, apple juice, nah, I'm out," I'd be like, "Really?" But tomato juice is very, polarizing. I would say.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get it. I get it. I'm the complete opposite though. If I'm picking a juice, like honestly, this just made me think of something. So for a while, I went on like a pretty aggressive diet, right? When I was like trying to bodybuild a little bit,
Mhm.
and one of the requirements in the morning, because I don't like to eat before I work out at all. And
Yeah.
so one of the things in the morning to like kind of jump start and get something in me, because the guy kept fussing at me. He's like, dude, you got to eat something. And I was like, just some juice and a banana and then get rocking and rolling. And my favorite juice is tomato juice. So I would just crush some tomato juice in the morning, and then some time goes by, I tell him what I'm doing. He's like, "No, I said juice." I'm like he's like sugary juice, like fucking orange juice or apple juice, regular human juice, like American accepted juice. And I was like, "Well, you said juice, and my favorite is tomato." And it would also give me horrible heartburn, which is the only
Yeah.
downfall of tomato juice. But
Yeah, dude.
I I just love tomato, dude. I mow down V8s. It is my favorite. There's not anything in this world that screams road trip to me more than scratch offs and a V8. If
Oh
you're doing a road
God.
trip, scratch offs and a V8, like,
No, dude. I think you are that's a very small percentage of people that think that.
well, that's my road trip, dude. Like if you're going
Oh,
more than 150 miles with one other person in the car, 200 miles with one other person in the car, you better be getting
dude,
scratchers and you better be mowing down a
I think
V8.
I think you and I have gone on multiple long trips like that and you've never gotten a V8. It's always
Well,
been a Monster or a Red
really?
Bull. Yeah.
Really? Oh man, I
Yeah.
love
Or
V8.
no, or
Um,
now it's Celsius. That's what you get now.
yeah, I'm just supporting the brand, but yeah, V8, huge fan, or tomato juice in general. And that so I love Bloody Marys because of that. But I want them
Mm.
super acidic, uncomfortably acidic, unhealthily acidic.
Mm.
And I also want them super, super spicy. And I don't want hot sauce spice. I want Worcestershire spice.
Mm. Okay.
But on the chelada, but okay, so you don't do Bloody Marys, but you still enjoy a chelada.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about why that is for a little bit, but I'm going to start off with a little bit of foundation here. So, a michelada, okay, it's a Mexican drink made with beer. These are the fundamentals if we cut it down to its core. It has to
Yeah.
have beer, lime juice, and assorted sauces, which are often chili based. So this one obviously has some tahini in it, but spices and chili peppers,
Yeah.
right? That
Hmm.
that foundationally is the chelada. Okay.
Okay.
So spices, lime, and beer. Okay. But there's a bunch of variations. Our variation, or my favorite variation, tends to have clamato in it. Are you
Yeah.
familiar? Not a
Yeah.
fan?
Not a fan of the Clamato. No.
Okay, so I get it. If you don't like tomato juice, I imagine putting the slime of clams in it doesn't help much.
And I think this is why my first experience was so horrible. But we go
Okay.
on.
Yes, wait, we'll talk about it in a minute, but I love clamato base in my chilada. Okay. I'm also
Mm.
going to tell you the other secret ingredient, and I'm giving this away. A buddy of mine makes the best on in the world, on the planet, hands down, not even close. Not just because I like the guy, but also because it is the best. And I'll tell you what the secret is in a minute. But in Mexico City, the most common form is prepared with beer, lime, salt, and a mix of mahi sauce, soy sauce, tahine, Worcestershire, serrano peppers, and clamato. Like I said, a mixture of those things.
Okay.
Um, so again, there's a number of variations, but I think I like the clamato base with the tahine and with a little bit of chili powder and some other things in it. But this is what I found to be the most interesting
Okay.
because I would say worldwide. I'm not gonna say worldwide. Obviously, we come from the great state of Texas, and so there's a lot of Mexican influence, which I think we take for granted. We'll talk about that as well, but we take a little bit of that for granted. But I would say worldwide, this is recognized as a pretty popular beer beverage, right?
Yeah,
Would
Michelada?
you say?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Michelada, right? Dude, get this. There's basically two popular versions of its origin. Okay.
Okay.
One involves a single man named Michel Esper, all right, from 1960, um, in San Luis Potosi, Mexico. In the 1960s, he began to ask for his beer with lime, salt, ice, and a straw in a cup called a chibella. All right, that's what the
Okay.
cup was called. All right. And he kind of called it like a beer lemonade, a beer limonada. That's what his thing was. So
Okay.
more people, yeah. So it's just this one dude, and he had this weird thing that he was making for himself. And then members of the club start coming in, and they were asking for Michel's limonada,
Okay.
right? So that's how they started, with the name again getting lazier, as is the nature of language, lazier and shorter over time to be the Michelada.
Wow. Okay.
Right?
This
I thought
man
that was
is
interesting.
this man is the originator of the Michelada.
Correct. So as time went by, obviously they started adding different things to the original recipe. And again, it's got a lot of the same things that we just talked about, right? So chili powder on the rim, salt, clamato, things like that. Um, the other that's one variation, which is proven to be true. And then the other variation, kind of at the same time, is that Mich like the phrase Michela Halata. Okay. So
Okay.
Michela meaning my is popular for cold beer in Mexico, right? So
Yeah.
Michela, and then Helada is like ice cold beer. So Michela Helada is my ice cold beer.
Okay.
But if you say it all in succession,
Michelada.
Michelada Helada, yeah. So
Okay.
again, the laziness of it. I'm gonna say that I believe in Michel Espar a little more.
Yeah, I want to believe
Um,
that story more. I really
Me too,
do.
but I would
It's
imagine probably, yeah.
to me that's a lot cooler of an origin, and also, it makes someone else in the world a legend.
It does.
It does. We
This
create
this
another legend.
one dude started.
Just
So
a
yeah.
random dude, just a random guy. Just a big thing over the past few months has just like been guys being guys, just doing guy things. He's
Oh
one of
yeah.
those guys. He was just a guy being a guy, doing guy things, man.
I also yeah. Back to the Clamato real quick. I want to know who was like, hey, this tomato juice. I mean, it's good. It's good, right? But could we sweeten it, add some dried clam broth and a little
God.
MSG, and really take it to the next level?
Oh God.
First
Oh
off, that sounds like something that should only be used for a michelada. You shouldn't be just organically drinking that. Like you shouldn't on your own account be just consumed. I have
no.
before, just straight out of the jug. But
Oh my
but
God.
but why? Why is it available in that
Yeah, I
format?
I don't know why it's available. It should be outlawed, man. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I don't
There should
know.
be, like what is the Smokey and the Bandit when they were
Hmm.
when they were trucking all
Coors
those
Light?
beers across the freaking
I don't. Yeah, yeah.
across the country. And I think instead of beer, that should have been Clamato in there because the government should ban it. I think that's what should happen.
Dude, it's so good though. Like
Oh,
it's not good by. I don't agree with you should drink it by itself, but like,
mm,
are you kidding me? How delicious is it when it's in a chelada?
no, dude. So okay, so I'm gonna get into
But yeah,
it.
give me
So
what happened.
this we were talking a little bit before, and you couldn't believe it that you were there the first time I tried my first, and it was a Clamato is what it was. It wasn't just a Michelada; it was a Clamato. But we were going disc golfing, man, with two buddies,
Oh yeah.
and we stopped at a gas station. We got some tacos. Tacos were incredible. Listen, we're gonna talk about this a little bit more too, but like we are blessed, and we take for granted some of the great things that Mexico has brought to us, and food being one of them, and tacos being one of them, right?
Absolutely.
Uh, some gas station tacos, man. There are some good gas station tacos, and I don't mean just any real gas station. No, I'm talking about Laredo tacos, baby.
Oh yeah, Laredo
Laredo
tacos fire.
tacos. Whoo, those things slap. Okay, so we stopped. We got a couple Laredo tacos. We were feeling good, and then one of your buddies got a Clamato, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" And he was like, "Oh man, you never had one." And I took a sip and almost wanted to throw up in this car. It was
Dude,
so disgusting. And
I
then
don't
and then after I drank it is when y'all told me what it was, and I was even more disgusted.
but it was like a michelada with clamato, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, because it was the Bud I remember it, which is harder to find, but it was the Budweiser premix.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yes,
I
because
forgot the brand. I just remember being so disgusted by it. I can remember like the art on the front of it, but I never remembered the brand.
so yeah, I know exactly now that you bring it up.
Yeah.
because that was like his favorite beverage to go take out into the. Also, well,
And
we're
it
gonna
was
talk
a
about like
and it was a
fucking
40, dude.
no, it was 224s.
24s. That's what it
But he
was.
would get 224s, and we would go out into the woods in 95 humid degrees and throw discs as he was just drinking
Hot
cheladas.
Clamada.
Yeah. But
Oh,
the reason is because this particular, I don't, is it Laredo's inside 7-Elevens too, but I think this was a Stripes,
yeah, it was
if
the
I remember.
stripes. It was the stripes.
Um, but it's hard to find, like you can get the Modelo. Modelo has a version. You can get the Modelo pre-canned. You can get the Bud Light ones, but it's
Mm.
hard to find the Budweiser with Clamato. And Stripes with the Laredo Taco is notorious for having them in 24s. I think they're actually 25s. It's one of those 25-ounce cans. It's a
Just a
little
little
more,
bit
a little
fuller.
better, a little better value. But anyways, yeah, he would get two of them and mow them down, and they would just be room temperature.
Oh,
And
worse than room temperature, dude. By
yeah,
the
they would
time we
get
got like
hot.
at least by the time we got halfway through that second one, it was boiling in there.
They would spoil, like the tomato juice would turn.
They're
But
bubbling inside the can.
yeah,
Tomato juice
but
bubbles popping.
honestly, now that you bring, like, I would like that's still delicious. I would still drink it.
Oh,
That's still good.
no, man. And that's like so that was my first experience and I never tried another one for man, 10
That was a
years.
bad first experience, but yeah,
Yeah, 10 years I never tried another one and then well, maybe like 8 years. And then I tried one a few years ago and I was like, "Oh, dude." That
but
but
was
this
it?
was like a fresh one in a restaurant and I was like, "Oh yeah." This and it was I wasn't drunk the night before, like I didn't really drink the night before, but I was just really I don't know, like lethargic a little bit, you know?
Yeah,
And I was like, I don't know if I really want a beer. But our cousin was telling me, dude, you just try one. Just trust me. Just try one that's
yeah.
made. And I was like, screw it. I'll try one. And man, I never looked back. They're so freaking good. They're so
So,
refreshing.
so have you, aside from this one though, have you gotten one in a can since, or are you just not? It's ruined
No, I
forever.
have not. But I will say that this is a significantly better experience.
Oh, for sure. This one, I'm not gonna say no offense to 903. This one, obvious, because none of them would be. This one's not one like they're making it somewhere. You know what I mean? Like they're not.
Oh, no, no,
This
no.
isn't a yeah, but it is delicious. On that same note, so the reason, like when you brought up the story of like your first one ever, that was a valid reason to remember it. Okay,
Yeah.
but when I remember my first beer and I remember other people's first beer like that I was a part of, right? And I don't mean just Chelada, I mean beer in general, which we've had a million of those, so it seems a little crazier to remember the specific one. But like I was asked that question, like, oh, when was the first time you had a Chelada? And I don't know the answer, which is crazy. Like I can't
Really?
remember. I don't imagine it would have been when I was young. Like I don't remember, like I said, we were ripping off Keystones in high school, but I don't
Yeah.
remember having a Michelada in when I was younger. So it had to have been around college. And here's the reason why. I don't remember the first one, but I remember going through a phase like we were driving somewhere, maybe like the river or something. I don't remember. There was a bunch of us in one particular black 1996 Honda Civic, and we
Okay.
were driving to a river to float it, and we played, man, I hope this is pretty incriminating, but we played Sorry the whole ride, dude. You want to talk about savage? That's a whole other topic. I think, have we talked about this?
No.
How as an adult, how savage Sorry can be?
Oh, I can imagine. I used to get pretty savage as a child in that game.
Dude, it's so strategic. You can be so much more strategic. But anyways, so imagine this. There's four grown ass men in this tiny little two-door coupe Civic that was overheating, by the way. And we're just
Uh,
rip roaring down the freeway. We're playing Sorry, and we had been like just kind of toying around with the idea of Cheladas. Like we gotten one out, or I'd had one in a can. I was like, yeah, I'm kind of indifferent. We stopped and got some of the Don Chelada cups. You ever had those?
no, I have not.
Holy shit. They're like, do you know what a setup is from a liquor store? It's basically like a gateway drug to the open container is really what that is.
No, I have not.
Bro, all of the real trashy liquor stores out in like East Texas, when you go and get like a fifth of something, they can't, obviously, they can't sell you anything, but they can sell you a Coke and a setup. And that's a styrofoam cup with ice in it and a
Okay.
Coke. And I'm like, all right, so I'm about to walk out. Just let's do the math on this. I'm about to walk out of this liquor store.
Well then,
Fifth, ice in a styrofoam cup in Texas, by the way. So that's only gonna last, I don't know, 15 seconds.
yeah.
And and then the Coke. You're gonna have to mix that thing as soon as you get back to the,
Oh, it
you
might as
know,
well, or you might as well let the ice melt and hydrate. You know.
fucking moot point, right? So,
Yeah.
anyways, the Don Chilada is the chilada setup for, dude. You take any bit. So the cup itself is a styrofoam cup, but it's impregnated and it's lined with all of the goodies that go in a chilada.
Okay.
It's got like dried tahini and dried chili powder and dried lime and all that in it. So you just take any beer, dump it in there, and it becomes a chilada.
Oh wow.
Dude, it's the shit. And so they sell them and they're pre-wrapped. You know, they have to be wrapped in plastic because all the shit will fall off of them. But
Yeah.
and so we stopped and we got some Don Chilada cups. And I think that's the first time I remember having one. But I know I had one before then. But I just remember like, you know, ripping down the road in this overheat. We'd have to turn the heater. It was the summer, dude. It'd be like July, and we have to cut the heater on so that the freaking
The engine
the
wouldn't overheat.
thermostat the thermostat would kick in. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there
Um.
before.
And so, dude, that with just chiladas and sorry, the windows were down, dude. It was just for like 6 hours
The
or
speakers are
7.
just humming from the music being too loud. Just
Oh, they were blown. They were
yeah.
blown 1,000%.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah, we had the old tape deck converter in there, but yeah, so I do remember that experience. The Don Chalada, I cannot recommend this enough. If you're, and I don't think they're available anywhere. I was having this conversation with somebody else the other day about the Don Chalada cup, and it's not available at certain places. Yet again, another luxury that we have down here in the bigger, better state. But highly recommend. They seem cheesy, but take one home and build a good chilada in the Don Chalada cup. It's not going to hurt.
Well, just in case anyone's wondering, you can get them on Amazon.
Really.
They're at Walmart. I don't know if you can buy them at Walmart or if you have to order them from Walmart, but um yeah, they are available to purchase at some places.
Yeah, dude, but also any shady gas station within, yeah. That's what
Oh
I'm
yeah,
saying.
that's a good
You
point.
can get them on eBay too.
I don't know if I'm buying Don Chiladas off eBay, bruh. I don't know about that.
No, really?
I don't listen, man. I think I'm gonna be going from a more reputable source other than eBay.
Dude. All right, but they got original, they got spicy, they got mild, they got lemon lime.
Mm-hmm.
Dude. Anyway, so get you a Don Chilada and have somebody that's really good at building one, build it in the Don Chilada cup. It's not going to hurt, you know.
Yeah, that does sound like a great experience. I think
Um,
what makes the well, in that case, I mean it's freshly made in that case, but how fresh, whatever. But I think what's so great about the freshly made one is the chili powder that you can really like feel in your mouth whenever you drink
yeah.
it. Like you get the ones in the can and you just don't really get the full experience like that. But
No, they're not dressed right ever.
and I feel like that's hard, right? Because it's
Yeah.
canned. You got to be able to store it. But the funnier part about it is I'm also not a big fan of like chili powder or tahini. But for whatever reason, it works, man. It just works in a michelada.
I don't want tahini on everything. I like tahini in a savory situation because
You
there's
know,
dudes that'll put tahini. What?
I feel
What are you
like
laughing at?
tahini is like, and I mean this in the most respectable way, but tahini is like the Mexicans Frank's Red Hot.
No, I would say more like the Mexicans Tony Sacheries.
Well, you don't remember the commercial, the Frank's Red Hot commercial?
Oh yeah,
I
put that
put
shit
that
on
shit on
everything.
everything. Yeah,
Hey,
I
hey,
feel
hey,
like
hey.
I feel
Hey,
like
I
that's
see what
good.
you I see what's going on there. One last thing on the original, the OG Michelada, but you're right. I only want it in a savory situation. I'm not putting it on my fucking mango or
No, no, I
anything
can't.
like that. I'm just not, but I do love those little spoons. You know what I mean? That it's like it's like the tahini paste, chili
Oh,
paste with the lime and shit. Oh, dude, tell me that's
oh
not
no.
delicious.
Dude, that is not, I can't do it. I can't.
Oh my God, they're so good.
I can't.
Anyway,
And I know I'm in the minority on that. I respect that, but I
dude, they're
can't.
like sweet and limey and chili and salty and oof. I can
Mm-mm.
taste it right now. My mouth's salivating more than it did when I
I,
originally took the 903 in.
no, I can't. I just cannot do it.
Um, but my favorite michelada ever of all time is one of my buddies. Um, he makes the best one. And I thought like there's a lot of times he'd be like, "Oh, I make good fajitas or I make good food." And his food's great, absolutely. But it was always like, good. Like
Yeah.
there were a few things where I was like, "Oh, that was rocking." But like there was other things where I was like, I mean, it was good. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Um but he would always like play himself down. He'd be like, "Oh, I mean, they're just fajitas. It's not that big of a deal." And I'd be like, "Oh, no, dude, they're good." And then one day he was like, but he was always very humble about it, about his food and his cooking or whatever. And then one day I went over there and he was like, "Do you want a michelada?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "I make the best one." And so in my head, I was kind of like, "Fuck, dude." Like, if he's saying that it's good and he's very humble about what he cooks, like,
It's
maybe,
gotta be good.
hands down, nothing I've ever drank ever since comes close. And
Wow.
I know it has real lime in it. It has Rose's lime in it. So I mean, he might be cheating, but it's got real lime in it. It's got Rose's lime in it. It's got tahini in it. It's got clamato in it. There is a certain beer that he uses, but it's not like a fancy beer. But it's like he has to have that. So I don't know if it's like
Yeah.
Pacifico or if it's Modelo or like, but he has something specific, Soul or something. But he has something very specific that he only uses for that. But it's still a generic beer. But then puts it all in there, a little bit of little cilantro flake, and then this is the key, dude. He takes half a cube of chicken bouillon and he crushes that
Oh,
up and just dusts it over the top. And so there's this super salty, savory, um,
yeah,
like
that sounds
umami
delicious.
component that slowly over time gets into the clam and that gets into the tomato. Dude, it's like a
Mm.
it's like a meal. Like you can't drink a lot of them, but it's like a meal, and
Yeah.
it almost gets. We talk about this every single week, and I hate to keep bringing it up because you guys are tired of hearing it, but when we talk about beers that we enjoy that take everything to like, it can't get any better, and then it drops off. That's how this tastes to me.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh, yeah, man, that sounds incredible. I'm not gonna lie.
But it's a lot of work too because I mean you got to have all those components.
Something
You
that
got to
good though is worth it.
It is, but you got to build them to order too. And I'm not saying that when you're mowing down chiladas, you're mowing down 50 of them. I think they are to be
No,
savored.
yeah, no,
You
no.
know,
That's not something you chug anyways. That's something you sip
no.
and enjoy.
Although I do hear a marketing campaign for Don Chilagolata. Huh?
Okay.
Speaking of marketing campaigns
Hmm.
and Frank's Red Hot putting that shit on everything.
Yeah. Yeah, so I brought this to you a little while ago. I was sitting in my room, getting ready to get in bed, I guess about a month ago maybe. And I was
Yep.
sitting here and I was just like, for whatever reason, man, I didn't even have a boo boo or nothing. I was just sitting here and I was like, I am stuck on Band Aid because Band Aid stuck on me. And I couldn't get it out of my head, dude. I just couldn't get it. And then I was like, what other slogans or like, jingles have I forgotten that like, because I had forgotten that was ever a thing until it popped into my head. And so it sent me down this rabbit hole, and I was just like, I got to talk about it. We got to talk about this because there's some things that I looked up because I did some research on this one, which is kind of a first. We've never
Send
really
it,
researched anything. So I did
obviously.
some, yeah, I did some research, and I was going through them, and I was like, man, I don't remember some of these. Like I do, but like I would not have remembered them if I didn't look them up. you know.
So how did you look them up based on popularity, or you were just like, hey, what's some shit that we should have remembered that we didn't?
No, I looked up 90s and 2000s slogans and jingles, and
Cool.
I just went through and clicked the ones that I remember, you know, that like popped into my head, and I
Can
was
I? So how do we want to do this? Should I guess one? Because when you said stuck on a band-aid, because the band-aid stuck on me, the first thing I thought of was my baloney has a first name.
mm,
It's OSCAR. Right? Was
see,
that on your
yeah,
list?
no,
That
but
might
I
have been a
forgot
little
that one.
older than the night. That was probably older than the '90s. I think that
You
was like the
think?
'80s, probably. Yeah, or maybe before that.
Oh wow.
Um,
You know what though? I think because I was telling mom about it, and I think she actually brought that one up. Now that I'm thinking about it.
oh yeah, she used to because Oscar Mayer has a way with BOLG, and I like just try to see how quickly we can physically say it.
Yeah. Have you ever, before we get back onto this, have you ever seen the Oscar Mayer Wiener car in person?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's an event
Dude.
that we do every year that
Oh,
it
but
comes to.
I'm talking about just like out in the wild though. Like
Oh
not
yeah, I have
yeah.
seen it out in the wild. You know, it's interns that drive those things for a year at a time. You know
No,
that?
I did not know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, dude. There's a bunch of them, and they get like scholarships to like to
Oh my
donate one
gosh.
year of their time to just drive that sucker across the
That's
country.
so awesome.
Yeah,
Dude,
pretty sweet.
I saw that thing in the wild at the most random time. I was leaving the Woodlands, Texas at 2:30 in the morning, and I was stopped at a stoplight, and the Oscar Mayer Wiener car just drove by through. And I looked over at my buddy and I was like, "Was that the Oscar
Did
Mayer
you
Wiener
see
car?"
that?
And he goes, "I think so, man." And we tried to find it, just like disappeared, dude. I swear. We went and tried to find it, and I was like, "This thing is a ghost. It's gone."
Like an anomaly. It only shows up on like what do you call it? Hunting trail cams and freaking security footage.
Yeah, it's not on Google Maps, that's for sure. Um, okay, so anyways, yeah, I did some research. Let's get off of this one.
Let them rip.
Um, dude, one I forgot that I thought I would never forget was in the 2000s. You
Okay.
ready for
What?
this?
Wait, listen. What? Okay, don't say it. What was the like? What was the category of the product?
It was for a soda.
Mm. Oh, you
A,
said early 2000s.
yeah, like I think it was like 2004-ish, maybe.
Wanna Fanta? Don't you
Yes,
wanna
dude.
Fanta?
Yes.
Fuck yeah,
Yeah, dude. And I
yeah.
remember it so vividly because I remember always watching that commercial and going, like as a kid, going, "Yes, I do want a Fanta. I do
But
want a Fanta so bad."
I do want a Fanta, but I'm also not a big aside from the grape. I'm not a big fan of the Fanta there.
Me
But
either.
um,
I liked the grape and I liked the pineapple, but I'm a big pineapple fan, so
I don't think I've ever had the pineapple.
the orange one's good
But
too, but that one's kind of overrated to me.
but didn't the commercial have like a bunch of like people dancing on it that
It
were all
was
the same color?
it was the Las Fontañas.
Oh yes, it was. They were
They
like
they
a
were a
super
fake
group.
band. It was a
Yeah,
fake girl band, and they were all the different colors of the Fantas. They all had the
dude,
different.
that
There was a
I guarantee.
strawberry Fanta, bro. If you were drinking the strawberry Fanta, I think you need to be put on a watch list.
Yeah, there's a good chance that that's going to show up as evidence at a crime scene.
Yeah.
I, yeah, I think I only ever had the grape and maybe the orange. I don't think I ever had any other ones. A whole different ball game. But did you remember Fruitopia?
Fruitopia.
Fruitopia.
Oh man, it sounds so familiar.
It was like a fruit veggie. I think there was veggies in it. It was like a fruity veggie soda, but it was in place of sodas. Like we would drink it. They were like semi-carbonated, but not really.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's not important. But Fruitopia was like a huge brand, but I don't remember the commercial. Anyways, so what else do you have?
Oh
I
man.
got that one.
Do you remember the old Pringles commercial or the old Pringles slogan? Because I don't think I was old enough to really catch this one when it was around, but like I've
Once you
heard it.
pop, the fun won't stop.
Yes, or once you pop, you can't stop. But
Once you
yeah,
pop, you stop. Yeah.
yeah. But also some of these are like, well, not all the ones that I wrote down, but some of them I looked at were like, oh, that's very much like a sexual innuendo, and this was one of
Oh,
them. I feel like,
1,000%.
yeah. Which I mean, I guess is a good idea. You know,
Yeah.
you're trying to get the kids pumped up with something funny, but then also the grown-ups are like, "Oh."
There's
That's
actually a
interesting.
very. I'm not even going to share it, but we'll talk about it after we go off air. Maybe we should have a. You know how most shows have like an after dark.
Yeah.
We should have an after dark episode, but there's one that was very very popular, and you're like, how was this on television?
Oh
How
wow,
was
really?
this on the radio? Oh, it pushed this. Anyways, but we'll talk about
It's
it
so
later.
bad we can't talk about it on pod.
I'm gonna say, it's not the worst, but it's pretty inappropriate.
Okay. Okay. I mean, there was some that I found too that were pretty obvious ones, right? Like, you got mail. Obviously, no, like we remember that one,
Yeah,
but I think we remember that one because it was a joke for so long, right? Like it was a joke in Austin Powers. It was a big,
you've got mail.
yeah.
You've got mail.
And then it was also, wasn't there a movie called You've Got Mail with Tom Hanks?
Yeah, yeah,
And
and
that was like part of it.
Meg Ryan. Yeah,
Yeah. Um, Where's the beef? Right? Wendy's, which they kind of brought that one back a little bit.
yeah.
I think back in like 2020 or something, 2021, but it was gone for a long time.
The early '90s, there was that commercial that Sam Elliott. It was from the Beef Checkoff, the National Beef Checkoff, and it was which was like a huge promotion about the nutrients of beef. It's still a pretty big organization, but it
Mm.
was Sam Elliott, and he would go, or I don't know if it was Sam Elliott, but somebody else. He would go, beef. It's what's for dinner.
Oh yeah.
And then it had the that was
Didn't it have like a freaking like a burger being seared on it too or something?
sometimes, or it'd be a
Or a
fancy
steak?
restaurant where they would bring it out like with the tablecloth thing, beef. It's what's for dinner. And I want to go back and YouTube some of that because that song was very fitting. Anyway, go ahead.
um Another, classic one is the $5 foot long. Five
Oh yeah,
dollar, $5 foot long.
anywhere, yeah. Have you seen There's actually a whole thing going on right now where everybody's getting pissy because times have gotten tough. Inflation's a bitch, but to prove it, they're like now it's 6 inches for $6, and they're like, wait a second, Subway, for an entire 2 decades. You promoted the $5 footlong, and now you're telling us we're getting half of that for $1 more.
Yeah.
You're you're killing us. But times are
Yeah.
getting tough. But yeah, $5.
I mean, time's getting
Five.
tough, dude. I get it, but I was watching an episode of GMM the other morning, Good Myth Go Morning, and
Yep.
Subway had a sandwich on there that was $17. It was a foot long, and it was one of their new ones that's supposed to have more toppings and more meat and stuff, but it most
No.
certainly did not. And it was $17, and I was like, I mean, dude, I'm going to Jersey Mike's. I'm being honest with you.
Agreed.
You know.
At that cost, yes. It's only convenience and nostalgia that I go to Subway for.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Yeah, there's not much else.
Also, do you know what? They should bring back the yellow. Remember when they were yellow on the inside? Like solid yellow on the inside?
Wait, what?
Subway.
Oh, like the interior. I thought you were talking about the sandwiches, bro, and I was like,
No, no,
what?
no, 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 no. The Subways. It
Oh
was like
yeah,
a yellow
solid
booth,
yellow
yellow
with
walls,
green
yellow brick,
accents.
yellow paint. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They should bring that shit back. But
Oh, dude, I feel the same way about McDonald's. McDonald's should be yellow and red all the way inside, baby, all the way. I'm not a fan of the modernization of my fast food and my fast casual restaurants.
I agree. I want them to be built in the era they're built and just maintain. I want you to maintain them, but I
Yeah, don't
still want them
update
to be
them.
the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
What else you got?
Um, I mean, another classic one for us was, I mean, Chili's, right? I probably don't even have to say anymore. Think about it.
Uh, Mid 2000s Justin Timberlake. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back.
I want my baby
Chili's.
back, baby back, baby back. Chili's, baby back ribs. Come on, man.
And then it would go barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
something.
it was in sync, man. I did not know it was in sync until I looked it up today, actually.
I remember it more so. Like I remember the commercials when they were on, but I remember it more so from was it Gold member?
No, The spy who shagged me.
Yeah, fat bastard did the Chili's baby back ribs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because he wanted to eat mini me. That's what was.
yeah,
Yeah.
baby. The other white meat.
The other white meat. Okay, we got the best part of waking up is Folgers in my
Soldiers in
cup.
your
In your cup,
yeah,
yeah, in your cup. Oh man.
yeah, dude.
That's a
And that was
that was such a good, they were really serving the right market with that one, you know?
dude. The other thing that was so crazy about those, if I remember correctly, the clip like the like the Chili's commercial, right? That was like probably a full 30-second slot,
Yeah.
right? Or maybe longer. The Folgers, what was unique about them, it would just be like a woman, and she would just walk in with a cup of coffee, and she would be in the
And it would
distance,
just zoom
and
in.
it would no, she would just be in the distance, like in a doorway, and it would be like the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup, and that would be the whole thing. And
Yeah.
like they didn't view in on her, they didn't nothing. You didn't see her physically drink. She would just walk in the room. Or sometimes it would just be a cup on a counter with like steam coming out of it, and then that was it.
See, that's the
And
one I
sometimes
remember.
it wasn't
That's the
even a
one I
cup at
remember.
all. Well, there was one that was just the sunrise. It was just the sun coming up on a lake, and it was like the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. Flash the Folgers and moved on. 10 seconds,
It's all,
over and over and over.
you know what the Folgers commercial was almost like is whenever you're like watching an ad on YouTube nowadays and it gets to the 5 seconds and then you skip it. That's
Yes,
kind
that's
of
exactly.
it was
They were,
like the commercial just getting cut off, you know?
dude. And here, you know what's so crazy about? Think about the ones we've talked about. Fanta, which I think Fanta might be discontinued, right? Or do they still make Fanta?
I think they still make Fanta. They just don't really
Okay,
promote it very much.
but Fanta, Chili's, um, Folgers. It's been a
Wendy's.
hot Wendy's. It's been a hot minute since I've just seen one of those commercials organically out in the wild.
Oh, well, yeah, I get Wendy's does do more commercials. I didn't realize where you were going with that when you started, so.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I would just say those are the ones that aren't doing. Subway recently has started promoting a lot, but but like I can't remember the last time I've seen a Folgers commercial.
They did one for the Super Bowl where they kind of brought that jingle back. They just didn't sing it. It was just the music.
Yeah, I think so. Weren't
Kind of.
people humming it too, or something?
Yeah, it was something like
Yeah.
that. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, they don't, not really. I don't see Pringles commercials anymore for sure.
No.
I don't think I've seen a Pringles commercial since I was like 12 years old.
I think America's gotten to the point where you don't need to sell potato chips.
Yeah, especially ones that are highly, highly processed.
They're just flying off the shelf already. Like
Yeah.
they don't need any assistance.
Yeah. Um, okay. The two that probably had at least the MTV audience in a chokehold from like 2009 until 2014 maybe was the freecreditreport.com.
Oh yeah.
Freecreditreport.com. Dude,
Yes.
the music ones, man, they got everybody. That one and the Education Connection. That girl went quadruple platinum. She
Good
she
call.
she ran would that be pop? That'd be pop music. She
Yeah.
ran the pop category for probably 2 or 3 years on that commercial alone.
Yeah, dude. What were was there just like a big push at that point to motivate people
I think
to
that
like
was
go
like
get their education or
Well, I
something?
think that was kind of like the online boom, right? Where like social media was kind of starting to take off a little bit. And so like more and more people were getting on the internet and then more schools and stuff were like, "Oh, we can offer degrees online
Educate.
now."
That is right.
And so they made a website. I don't even know if it's still up. We should look if it's still up, but
What is it?
Education Connection. But it
Oh,
was
good
a
call.
website that did nothing except tell you what schools you could enroll in. At that time, you could just look up what you wanted to do like for school and it would tell you what schools to go look at, you know? But I mean, come
It
on.
is.
Education
Yeah,
Connection.
get matched for free,
Get
baby.
matched for free at
Yeah,
Education Connection.
I guess you just put in what you want to do, and it tells you the easiest place to get in.
Yeah, I think that's all it does.
Yeah, but dude, that was killer. I thought you were gonna go with "I have a structured settlement and I
No,
need
no.
cash now."
That's a good one too. That's a good one too. I think that
Dude,
one I think that one had a way longer life than a lot of these.
well, they had a bunch of variations, but it always kept the same theme. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But the best one was the original one where they were on the bus,
Oh yeah.
you
Or
know.
there was one too where they were in the apartment complex, but I liked the bus too. What's crazy to me is that like, dude, 877 cash now, like, is will be imprinted in my brain forever.
Oh, until I die. The day I die, I will
Yeah.
be in heaven singing that jingle. I will. It was so
Also,
incredible.
Also, like very quickly early on, they were like, "Hey, people are catching on to this. We should make it a sing along." And they put the fucking words at the bottom with the
With
little
the
jumping
ball
star.
bouncer. Yeah. Yeah. I think
I say what you want. That was budget marketing, but say what you want about that. Crushed
listen.
it.
That was also, I think that one just came out in a time where that ball bouncing thing was just a real popular thing that was going
Dude,
on. And
I
so it just caught
guarantee
on.
you, JG Wentworth in its entire campaign of that, which is going to seem like a lot, but they probably spent to get it out there, buy the time slots, develop it, get it sold, everything, like 300 grand. And they have made way more than that off of that.
Hundreds of millions at the very least.
Dude.
Oh yeah. Absolutely insane. But going back real quick, between the Education Connection and the freecreditreport.com though, I got to tell you that I think I was a bigger fan of the freecreditreport.com music because
Is that the one?
they would mix it up, and there was the one specific commercial I remember was this guy driving around in that beat up
That
blue
broke ass?
hatchback.
Yes. Yes.
And they were just, and he was freecreditreport.com. I should have seen it coming at me like an atom bomb.
And Adam Bob. Yes.
Oh
Dude, it was just
man.
like it was like a modern day Wayne's World broke ass hatchback that was blue.
Yes,
I do
yes,
remember.
dude. And they packed this whole band in there, and they were all playing the.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was so good. They just don't do commercials like they used to. They don't really do TV like they used to in general. But all right,
No.
the last one that I have though, and this one I do. I mean, I clearly do remember it, but I could not have told you the jingle for it if you would have told me the product. I would have been like, "What? I don't remember the jingle." A baby bottle pop, dude.
Ooh, I don't remember the jingle, but I do remember the
It's
product.
so freaking easy, dude. It's so easy.
Baby bottle pop,
Yeah,
baby bottle pop.
yeah.
You, yeah,
You,
what was it? You lick it, you suck it, or something. What was it?
you dip it, you shake it, you something,
You
something.
do it again. Yeah,
Yeah,
something
something
like
like that. Oh man,
that.
but those
Baby
are
bottle pop.
I don't
It's
even.
baby bottle pop.
Yeah, it's a baby bottom pop. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's oh, those are so. I mean, I used to get them all the time because I was a child and I was, you know,
Man, dude,
I
where did they
succumbed to a
go?
lot. I succumbed to a lot of Nickelodeon commercials back in my day, but yeah, I don't know. I don't ever see them anymore. I did look it up earlier because I was trying to find the video for it to remember it, and I did see that they sell them online still somewhere.
Baby bottle pop, baby bottle pop. Yeah, I
The
don't
uh,
remember.
the other one that I had forgotten about was the Juicy Drop Pop, dude. Remember the Juicy Drop Pop?
Mm-mm.
It was essentially the same candy stick, right? Like the baby bottle pop, it was just like solid candy that you would lick, and that's how you got
Yeah,
the powder to stick to it, right? It's that same kind of
yeah.
candy, but it was in like a little bit of a like a popsicle type shape, kind of a flat. And on one end there was a little sour juice bottle, and you would squirt the little sour juice bottle into the little tray
So
on the pop, and you would lick it.
I vaguely remember that. I vaguely remember that, but I don't. It was basically like a what do you call it? A fun dip variation, basically, right?
Kind of, but instead of like a chalk
It
thing,
was gel.
it was yeah.
Dude, I think of so you talked about Band-Aid, another one that was like super popular. This was a little bit earlier, but that immediately came to mind was pizza in the morning, pizza in the evening, pizza at
Oh
supper
my god.
time with pizza on a bagel. Dude,
Yes.
I remember getting like we didn't have bagel bites a lot, but I remember getting bagel bites and being like, this is the shit, only because of the commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bagel bites were the
Yeah.
shit though. They still are the shit. I lied. I have one more that I skipped over here. And it's
Yeah.
one that was seared into my brain. Clearly I'd forgotten. Um that I feel like could still be around. I really do. I'm a big kid now. Come on,
Oh
dude.
yeah.
Oh, what was that? It was Pampers, right? Was it Pampers or was it and it was another diaper brand maybe.
It was pull-ups, but I don't know who the I'm a big hit. It was pull-ups.
No. I
I
just
think of
remember,
it.
but the reason I remember it so vividly is because I was wearing pull-ups whenever that came up, that commercial came around.
I'm a big kid now. Yeah, I don't remember
So,
the who the manufacturer was, but I think of it doesn't matter what comes. Fresh goes better with life. With Mentos fresh and full of life. Nothing
uh,
gets to you. Staying fresh, staying cool. With Mentos fresh and full of life. And they would always hold up the tube and they would always flip it from the tube. And I'm like, what human being is flipping Mentos from
not
the
a
tube
single,
like that?
not a single
Men.
human.
And then they would stop and it would go Mentos, the fresh maker. And
Yeah.
Mentos did not make your breath any fresher. We all just ate the soft, fruity ones and moved on about our way.
Yeah, no one did the mint ones. You know what?
No.
My dad used to get the mint ones sometimes, and I'd be like, "Dude, what are we doing here?
What the hell is this
What?
with the front with the
Give
mint
me,
ones?
give me the fruity Mentos, man."
Yeah, Mentos is another good one. Yeah, there were so many that were just iconic. They were the thing is, you didn't have all the social media that you have
Yeah,
today, right? You
yeah,
didn't have infinite avenues to constantly connect with people. So your radio slot better be short and memorable, and your commercials better be funny, short, and memorable. And
yeah.
there was a lot of different variations too. Like we talked about. You might have one Chili's version, or you might have 5 or 6 different Folgers, but it was all the same thing.
Well, and I think to go on your point there is like now ads are skippable in so many areas, right? Or you can pay to avoid them. So like the main players and the main ads you see nowadays are during like sporting events, right? Like Super Bowl, World
Yep.
Series, NBA Finals, Stanley Cup, like all the big events that are on TV. And so it's only going to be the people that can afford those slots. You know what I mean? Otherwise,
Yeah.
when something comes up on YouTube, you're just going to skip it in 5 seconds when you can, or you're going to pay for your premium subscriptions to get rid of commercials or whatnot. So you just don't see as
Um,
many random ones anymore.
it was hold on. I
Same thing
wanna
with
wanna
social
look
media
at
too. You see an ad on social media, you just scroll past it. You know what I mean?
yeah. You don't you just it was Huggies pull-ups.
Huggies, that's the other brand I couldn't think of.
I'm a big kid now. Hmm.
Yeah, good stuff. It was a good throwback moment. I had to get it out of my brain because I've been thinking about it for so long.
Yeah, what? Oh, real quick, I'm gonna roll through ones that I didn't think of just very briefly because I googled a list. Um, everything's better with Blue Bonnet on it.
Ooh, I do
I
remember
don't
that.
I don't remember that one, but there's something about an Aqua Velva man. I do remember that. The freaking aftershave. I do remember
Yeah.
that one. The closer you get, the more you need Noxema. I don't remember that one.
No, no, don't remember that.
Ooh, Snap, Crackle, and Pop.
Yeah, but is that one not around still? I feel like I've seen that one.
Rice Krispies, Snap, Crackle, and Pop. Yeah, but I don't know how many people are eating Rice Krispies, let alone cold cereal. You just don't see any commercials for those anymore.
Yeah, the only one you really see anymore is Lucky Charms.
Tang is energizing like rocket fuel.
Dude,
Nah,
hold
these are
on.
trash.
Speaking of cereal real quick, do you remember what cereal company had the best commercials? And I don't want to put you on like a time crunch here, but just off the top of your head,
What
what
cereal company?
yeah, well no, like what cereal brand, right? Like Honey Nut Cheerios, Rice Krispies, what cereal had the best commercials? Because I
I'm
know
gonna go.
my answer right now.
I'm gonna go Cookie Crisp.
Ooh, those were good too. That's a good one. But
You
dude,
gonna go Honeycomb?
no. You ready for this? Apple Jacks, bro.
Oh yeah,
With the cinnamon stick, dude, shredding it up. Are you
yeah.
kidding me? Just grinding the cinnamon sticks?
What was it? Silly Kids. They don't. Not Silly Kids. But it was that
Tricks.
was Silly Kids. Rabbits. Yeah, tricks
Tricks
are
are
for
for
rabbits.
kids. Tricks are for kids.
Tricks. Silly Rabbit. Tricks are for kids. Whatever. The Apple Jacks one was they don't taste like apples.
I don't
That was
remember
their
that part of
slogan.
it.
Their slogan was they don't taste like apples, and so everybody was like, "What the fuck?" And that became their thing. They don't
No.
taste like apples.
No, I don't know, but they were delicious, and I just remember the commercials vividly.
I'm gonna say one real quick, and then we can move on to where we need to. But uh-oh.
SpaghettiOs?
Yes.
Yeah,
SpaghettiOs. Why was that the slogan? I don't know why.
because it rhymed, man. Everybody was about rhyming back in the day.
Yeah. Double your pleasure, double your fun.
What is that?
Double mint, the double mint gum.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Some of these are a little bit older, but anyways, I just wanted to share. I thought the SpaghettiOs was a big one.
Yeah,
I
that's a good
remember
one.
going through a massive SpaghettiO phase where all I wanted to eat was SpaghettiOs for lunch all the time. After I saw Flipper, you remember that?
Dude, yes. So again, going back real quick about how I never will eat like tomato soup. I did go through a SpaghettiOs phase, funny enough.
Bro. And
And
they, I
now
would
when I
just
look at it, I just want to barf. I can't.
Yeah, no, I'm not a huge spaghetti. I will like I've probably done them in college, and I've probably done them maybe like once or twice since then. But yeah, dude, I got to the point where I'd put like pepperonis in them and shit, like just living the dream.
Oh,
But yeah, I'm kind of out on those. Anyway,
yeah. Um,
WWYB Dizzle.
oh, yeah. It is time for us to get in the WWYBDs here. I got lost
You
in
want
the
to shoot
sauce
for
on that topic. I'm sorry.
Lost in the Sauce? By the way, I don't know if they have any commercial, but the sauce is the boss. Who's that?
The sauce is the boss.
The sauce is the boss.
I don't know that one.
Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce.
Mm, yeah, yeah, that's a
Sauce
good
is the
one.
boss. And I love Sweet Baby Ray's, but honestly, it's just glorified craft. I'm saying it, people. I'm saying it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's good. I don't think it's nothing to write home about, you know. All right, let's get into the WWYBDs here. I can go first. I think you went first last week, so I can go first. To
Sound good?
me, I might have said this before, but to me, this is like I'm at an outdoor event where it's extremely hot, and I'm sitting right in front of a portacool, trying to stay cool, and I'm drinking this because it's a little bit more refreshing in my brain than a regular beer, and I want to drink beer with the rest of the partygoers. But again, it has to be extremely. I'm talking like 93 minimum outside. It's very hot. Um, but I'm not doing anything particular. I'm just sitting in front of the portacool trying to stay the portacool with the water feature turned on. So the water's dripping down the back.
Yeah.
It's getting it's staying real cool, but almost not cool enough to where it's going to keep you cool throughout the day. You're still going to get really hot.
Yeah, so it's funny because we write them down separate, but one thing I was gonna say, mine's kind of similar, but for some reason when I took the first sip of this, I thought of big spools. So outdoor event, walking into an outdoor event, they've got the Edison bulbs kind of stretched out,
Yeah.
spool, massive umbrellas, but post shower. Like it's in the evening, but I just took a shower, and when you're still kind of sweat and sticky from the shower and it's uncomfortable?
Yeah.
I'm walking into the spool event with the big umbrellas and those things, and I'm mowing one of these down. I'm still sticky from my post shower. Also, you guys know how I'm programmed. I'm going outside after a shower, so I'll have to take another shower when I get back to the
Oh
house.
yeah.
But nonetheless, this is post shower outdoor event at night.
This is like it was like you're saying like you've been working all day outside. So you
Yeah.
take a shower and then go out and meet some people. and drink these, and then you go back home. You got to take another shower to go to bed. Clearly,
Especially around here because it's like 1,000 degrees, as you mentioned.
1,000 degrees and 99% humidity all the freaking time. So
Yes.
you're getting sticky if you open the front door in Texas. You know.
I looked out the window earlier and broke a sweat. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I peeked through the blinds for a second. Got sunburned.
Fucking sunburn. So ratings. I did not change it because I don't. I thought about changing my fizz score, but down. I had a bunch of burps right. We'll get there, but I had a bunch of burps right early on, and now they're just kind of sitting. But also, I think burps for a michelada are kind of rare for me. It's such a savory beverage that they just kind of sit. They're bubbly enough to where they're refreshing, but I don't get a lot of burps from them normally. Anyway, so entry I have a 4, aftertaste I have a 4. Um, but again, starts great, finishes great. Body I actually have a 5. It's got a thick enough mouthfeel, but not super super thick. I think sometimes with chiladas you can overdo it with the. I know it's not going to sound gross, but like tomato clamato has a tendency to get slimy and thick, and this one's not. Color, I have a 5. I think it's like, it should all, again, it's going to sound offensive, but it should always be like a watered down, post ice, shitty lime. You know how when you drink a drink that was poured on ice and then you set the cup down and then the ice melts?
Yeah,
That like nasty fruit shit that builds in the bottom of there? That's what
yeah,
a good michelada should look like, and that's what this does. Um, Bitterness, I have a 4. I think it could have been slightly more bitter. Same with acidity, but again, I'm a guy that happens to run my bitterness and acidity expectations very, very high for any type of Bloody Mary, red beer, or michelada. And then fizz, I have a 4. I think maybe it could have been a 3. It delivered what it should have, but anyway. So total, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20, 30 even.
yeah. Surprise, surprise, we're pretty close on this one.
Okay.
Um, entry. So here's the thing: is I'm not basing mine on my um fresh michelada experience, right? From a fresh michelada, I expect more than what's in this can. I do. But from my can experience, as I've said, I've not had great experiences, and this far surpasses those experiences. So entry and aftertaste, I have a 5. I think they're very good. I think it's not, again, it's not up to what you get from a fresh michelada, which it shouldn't be because it's canned. But it's good. So a 5 for those. Body, I have a 5. I think, I mean, it's not it's not too much. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's good right there, and it's nice. It's refreshing. Color, I also have a 5. A 5. I kind of teetered back and forth because I was starting to compare that one to a fresh michelada, but that's because I've never seen a canned michelada poured, right? So I don't know what to expect from it. But I did leave it at a 5 because it looked what I expect from a canned beer at least. Um, Bitterness, I have a 4. Acidity, I have a 4. I kind of agree with you there on both what you said. It could use a little bit more for both of those. I think
Yeah.
I almost kind of want, and this is crazy for me to say after all the shit I've been talking, but I kind of want just a little bit more tomato, just a tiny bit more. Just a little bit more tomatoiness
Coming around, coming around.
coming around. Not a lot in a can, but just a little bit more. And fizz, I have a 4 as well. Um, I had some pretty severe burps before we started, um, so that could have factored in, but it was pretty consistent throughout my experience. They were pretty solid. So my total is a 32. Um,
Nice.
Definitely not a fridge sitter. In fact,
Nope.
I'm looking very much forward to drinking the third one that I have in the fridge. Um, and I will be telling all of my close confidants that are Michelada fans to search this one out and find. Also, I forgot to mention earlier, this is one of their May releases, so I don't know if there is many more available.
Mm.
So if you find them, get them. I don't know if they're going to be around much more, this year. So if you find them, don't think, oh, I'll get it next time. You should probably scoop it now.
Oh, so we're saying this might be a limited.
I think, yeah, it's not one of their cores. I think it's a limited release thing, at least based on their website.
Limited or seasonal?
Let me double check.
I like the way I just threw you on the spot with that. I demand an answer. Is it limited or seasonal?
Well, it says May
And
2024
now.
releases.
Ah, okay. Well, I was
It's
just gonna say, I don't know how difficult it is to come by, and I'm not blasting any of the other ones that you can get in a can. Uh, Obviously, unless they're hot and you're at a disc golf course. But I would say go ahead and get, like, I would choose this one over some of the other readily available can versions. I think it's better.
yeah, clearly me too. It's a lot easier to drink in my case. A lot more, I could also, because they are only 4%. I don't know if other canned micheladas are that low, but I could
I
also
would say so.
enjoy. I could enjoy more of them. I feel like
Yeah.
if you're into
They're not.
that.
They're. I mean, obviously, I haven't had any beers or any alcohol in quite some time, so I am feeling these a little. I also had like a lighter dinner. For a 4%, I think they're hitting me harder than they normally would, but they don't feel. They're not super super heavy either. Like they have sometimes they have a
No,
tendency to be.
no, not at all. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so go out and find it if you can and scoop it. We have gotten to that point in the podcast where I told you to follow us on social media on Twitter and TikTok at Off the Tap Pod, and on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Off the Tap Podcast.
Live life like there is no Clamato.